Am I the Astronaut? Lady called the cops on me for cursing her. I, female 34, have a male 10 son named Benton, and he is my little mini-me. I've always been super into fantasy stuff like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, etc. As he's gotten older, he started to get into some of the stuff with me. He's really into Harry Potter and magic things at the moment. A couple of weeks ago, Benton asked me if we could have a friend from school over to hang out. I was excited he was making friends and happily agreed. I got in contact with the kid's mom when Benton came home with her phone number on a piece of notebook paper. I talked to her for a while and she seemed pretty nice and agreed to drop her kid off to hang out with Benton for a sleepover. The boys played outside for a bit, jumping on the trampoline, playing tag, etc., and then decided they wanted to have a snack and watch a movie. Benton asked his buddy if he had ever seen Harry Potter, and he said no. So I got a little fruit tray and some popcorn ready for the boys and turned on the first movie. If you aren't familiar with Harry Potter, the first movie is pretty lighthearted. They get darker as the sequels continue, but we only watched the first one so it wouldn't be too much for Benton's friend. His friend seemed to love the movie. Afterward, the boys played with Benton's magic toys and wands that he had, and they seemed to have a great time. His mother came and picked him up the next morning and thanked me for watching her son. The day after that, Benton came home crying. I asked him what was wrong, and he told me that his friend wasn't allowed to hang out with him anymore. I was so confused. They had a great time. Nobody fought. No feelings got hurt. What would cause this? I called the boy's mother to ask if something had happened to upset her. She berated me, calling me a sick mother, and said I exposed her child to witchcraft. I was super confused. Apparently, after watching Harry Potter and playing Wizard with Benton, he went home and told his mom about the movie, and she lost it on him and told him he wasn't allowed to see Benton anymore. My son was crushed, and I was pretty offended after the hateful things she said to me over the phone. If her son wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter, I understand that, but we got no warning or heads up about it, and it didn't seem to do any harm at all. I decided to let it go and took Benton to go get ice cream. The next day, he came home bawling again. I asked him what happened. He said that the counselor talked to him about pushing his beliefs onto other students, and that his friend called him evil after he tried to go play with him during recess, and that he was telling the other kids that he was evil and to not play with him. He was so upset that he was inconsolable. I felt awful. Banning your kid from talking to mine is one thing, but in no way was my son spreading any sort of beliefs or was he evil. So I decided to pay a visit to this mom's house. I knocked on the door and was greeted with a cold, emotionless stare from the mother. She hesitantly asked me what I was doing at her house. And that's when I said, Avada Kedavra. I'm kidding, it doesn't say that. I asked her if I could talk to her about what her child said about my son and who she thought she was. She gave me an obviously fake smile and said, all I did was warn my son about the dangers of talking to people like you and your child. I asked her what she meant by that, and she said, I don't want my family associated with the type of people who believe in such evil things, and I don't want my boy near your family or your devil child. I was extremely confused. I'm not one to judge anyone's belief systems or religions, and I would understand if the movie had offended her, even if she didn't warn me about it, but this seemed way out of line and like an extreme jump to conclusions. So I told her that I was going to put a curse on her forever and left. Oh shit, she actually did it. She freaked out and shut the door. I felt a little solace in that, picked up some dinner for my son and went home. Later that night, I get a knock on my door. Apparently, she called the police on me for threatening her. When I explained the situation to the police, they seemed to chuckle and told me that I should probably just steer clear of the woman, but I'm absolutely shocked she went as far as to call the police on me. Needless to say, unfortunately, my son will not be able to hang out with his buddy anymore. I feel bad for him, but there's not much I can do about it now. I can't just conjure him up new friends for him, contrary to that lady's thoughts. Geez, am I the asshole in any way here? Coming up to give us her thoughts on this, for the final time in this 24-hour stream, the one, the only, Candy Thunder. Ladies and gentlemen.
Look at you. I want to be friends with OP. Definitely not friends with the woman that called the police, because I'll watch Harry Potter with you. What? What is this? All I did was warn my son about the dangers of talking to people like you and your child for watching Harry Potter.
Your devil child.
For watching Harry Potter? No.
So the school counselor thing, like getting the school involved and then having this kid spread that OP's son is evil.
That is just, how old is did she say how old her son was?
Yeah, go back up. I want to say it was 10. Yeah, 10.
Oh my.
That's ridiculous.
Well, and I mean, if you have strict rules for your children and you send them to a sleepover, maybe communicate those rules, because a 10-year-old watching the first Harry Potter movie is not unheard of. Oh my gosh. I would be pissed too. Like, I would be pissed if you were spreading this crap about my child. I would be very, very angry. Mama Bear would come out. There's no doubt about that.
I'm guessing, there's a lot of backlash with the counselor right now. I'm guessing the narrative that the counselor received was from Nancy Biznatch mom. So the story that she got was probably frightening enough and not the truth for her to take the action that she took. OP here needs to go set the record straight. Needs to go have a conversation with the school and the counselor and involve whoever you need to involve, but set the shit straight, because now your kid is going to face some bullying.
That's what I was going to say. That's why I would be so angry that she went. Also, talk to the parent. Like, if you have a problem with something that happened at a sleepover, why are you involving the school? Like, this has nothing to do with the school, right?
No.
I mean, this woman like went an extra step in order to make your son's life hell. And that's just malicious. And to not just reach out to you directly. Yeah. I love that you said you were going to put a curse on her forever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I was kidding about the whole Avada Kedavra thing, but
the fact that it came up later in the story.
Hex.
Oh gosh.
Going friggin' Sophia the First style on it. Hex.
This is like reading something on Facebook about Harry Potter or like witchcraft at concerts and believing it without doing your own research. Like, this is a story. Like, this isn't real life.
Mercy, send her a howler.
Although
that'd be awesome.
I'm still waiting on my Hogwarts letter. What would you do if this happened to us?
I'd be marching to the school immediately. I mean, Nancy Biznatch, you can't do anything about. She's obviously got her head up of her bleached asshole so far that she doesn't know which way is up, right? She's a lost cause. But I'd be marching to the school to find out what exact story she fed them, because of whatever it was made this counselor do what they did.
Right.
So there needs to be some corrective action taken there. I would get school board involved, depending on what you find out from the counselor here.
Saying you're pushing your beliefs onto someone that, like, again, this has nothing to do with school. This isn't even associated with school. So for the counselor to get involved, I would be pissed. I would be so angry.
Yeah. But it would not be. It was Nancy Biznatch who made that call, though, who made the move and said whatever she said, knowing what she needed to say to get the counselor involved.
I'm sorry, but that's a shitty counselor to not talk to the kid's parent before talking to the counselor and saying things, using the word evil and pushing beliefs. Like, that's crossing a line that you cannot cross.
Yeah.
Without having input from the other parent. You do that. And I would be Mama Bear full mode, Daddy Bear full mode. I don't know if Daddy Bear's a thing, but
yeah, and Elise, and we've seen a lot of comments about that. Yeah, Nancy Biznatch is pushing her beliefs through her child, so it's the exact hypocritical thing here, because that's what she's accusing. That's what she's accusing OP's kid of doing. So
that's normally how it works.
Bedeviled. To torment or harass. I am very booked up today, David. I am positively bedeviled by meetings, etc.